Hello and welcome back. As you guys know, my name is Dallin Anderson, and today we're going to be talking about how to be free from anxiety and earn more money. So we're going to be running over a few different things that have really helped me overcome my personal struggle with anxiety. Throughout my teenage years, I definitely struggled a lot with anxiety. I remember days where I just felt like there was this feeling inside of my stomach. And I've, over the years, been able to overcome that feeling. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and how you can apply that to business and earning more money. Or really just feeling better about life in general. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. So, how to be completely free from anxiety. We live in a world today where a lot of people have anxiety. It's probably one of the biggest modern plagues that we actually have. A lot of people struggle with it. So, it's probably one of the most important things that we could learn how to address as a society, because we have a lot of sick people. And it's not fun to see people suffer. So the root of anxiety is actually pretty simple, but we're going to be talking about 3 things that you can do to go ahead and eliminate that anxiety in your life. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. You guys, basically the very first thing that I would tell you to do if you struggle with anxiety is to reduce the amount of things you have going on in your life. So the way that it works is pretty simple. If you live in a world where your world is extremely chaotic, you've got things going on in a million different directions like this, okay? And this is basically like your world, okay? All these lines, I'll use a different color. You can't really see black. It's almost out of ink. So you guys can see all these crazy lines here. All these crazy lines going in every single direction. That is what most people's life is, okay? Most people live this extremely chaotic life. And they don't know where they're going. They don't know what they want. They don't know where they want to go next. They're confused about where they've been. And they literally, everything about their life, the way they look at the future, the way they look at the past, the things that they do every single day is completely chaotic. That's most people, right? And I've done this myself. Everybody has done this. So a lot of people are living lives where they have tons going on, but what's easy to do and what you might be doing is it's easy to fail to realize that you're in the driver's seat. So if you're living this chaotic life, if you feel chaos, if you feel like everything is going crazy, you have forgotten that you're choosing those things. You choose to think chaotically. You choose to live chaotically. And that creates all sorts of problems in your life. It just creates problems. So, basically, most people live their life like this. This is almost everybody that really in today's world, a lot of people live their life like this. They don't know where they're going. They don't know where they've been, and they don't know how to make sense of where they are. So, the very first thing that I would do to address anxiety, it's very, very simple. In fact, it's so simple that pretty much everybody misses it, which is why so many people struggle with anxiety in today's world. But it's extremely simple to solve the problem. So let's go ahead and get here. Okay, so basically, if your life is chaotic and you're living in 1,000 different directions at once, and you're having a hard time managing everything, and you feel stress, you feel anxiety, and you feel powerless, you are able to change. Okay? There's people that don't live like that, and there's people that do. And it's not just some genetic curse, right? The people that live chaotic lives and the people that live orderly lives have chosen to live either one. That was their choice that they made, either consciously or unconsciously, but it's still a result of your own self. So even though this video might not be very popular, you are the root cause of your anxiety. Like, you're the reason it's happening. You can't blame anybody else. So let's talk about how you can order your life. So a lot of people have dreams. They have, let's say, they've got this dream and this dream up here and this dream over here. And they're like, oh man, I love my dreams. And, they think about them all the time. Or at least they think about them when they want to have dreams, right? When they want to be cool, they think about them. And they're right here, okay? This is you, right here. And your dreams are up here, okay? Now, most people, the reason so many people have anxiety about their lives, about their future, is really because of the fact that they don't know where they're going. Because if you know where you're going, you're still going to experience days where you wonder. You're still going to experience days where you're like, You might even feel a feeling of anxiety for a minute, right? It might arise within you. But because you have a destination, it goes away. So begin with the end in mind. If you want to free anxiety, then you need to pick one of these goals, right? You probably have a lot of things you want to do with your life, but you can't be divided against yourself. So really, first and foremost, you need to know where you're going, right? If you want to start a business, you need to say, okay, I am starting that business. And even if in the short term, we'll put a B right here for business. Let's say this is your dream of a business. I'm starting that business. And even if the short term, I question myself a little bit, I wonder or whatever, I'm going to do that, right? Because a lot of times, all of these choices, a lot of them are going to be equally good. Some of them are going to be better. Like every once in a while, you'll get one that's way better than the other one, for sure. That does happen. But a lot of times, if they're your dreams, then that's probably the highest aspiration of yourself, right? Your highest ideal of yourself. And so if it's one of your dreams, it's pretty unlikely that it's going to be a bad choice. So pretty much all of these are probably pretty good choices. Some are going to be better than others, of course. And you do want to spend some time examining your own talents, what you're good at, whatever, so you can best pick what one. But the simple truth of the matter is that a lot of them are going to be good. A lot of your dreams, and you'll know which one really hits home because you'll feel it inside of you. You'll feel that flow. You'll feel that spirit that's drawing you into it. So yeah, definitely you need to pick one. You have way too many things going on at once, basically. No wonder you're chaotic. No wonder you always have problems, right? Because you literally haven't solved any of your own problems. So, yeah, of course, you're always going to have problems if you don't address the root cause of the problems. And the root cause of most people is a lack of focus. It's that simple. Like, check this out. So, okay, number one, make it a game to simplify and focus your energies. Make it a game to simplify and focus your energies. You could be doing so many different things at once, but how much energy do you have in your day? Like, realistically, basically very little. I mean, the human body only has so much time and energy. And so you need to pick one of those things so that you're not trying to put half of yourself over here and half of yourself over here and half of yourself over here and half of yourself over there, and then wondering why you're not getting anywhere in anything because you don't have anywhere to channel and focus your energies. This could also be true for, like, let's say you have a lot of stuff in your room. My bedroom right now, you guys, is extremely simple and extremely clean. Like, I have my pillow right there because I was meditating this morning, and I have a Lego box on the floor to put my camera stand on, and my camera bag on the blanket. So, like, right now it's slightly more stuff in here than normal, right? But there's almost nothing in my room. Almost nothing inside of my room, right? And so if you think about, like, what that means for me, let me make sure my camera angle is good since I probably screwed it all up. All right, let's see here. Oh, I don't think I'll be able to see because I didn't start recording until after. Or I didn't press preview until after I started recording. Either way, I'll just trust that the camera angle is good enough. Actually, I can look back around and see. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so what does that mean for me to have the setup that I have in my room? What does it mean to have such a clean room for me? Well, it means that when I come into my room, my energy is focused on literally one thing. My guitar. Like, that's the thing that's out in my room open, sitting right there. The only other thing that I see is my laptop. That's for editing, making videos. I basically have nothing around me. So what am I able to do? I'm able to focus easily because there's not distractions. There's not a million things going on at once. And the things that are in my room, except for the main important things, are perfectly organized. Like my books, my bed, my record player, everything is perfectly organized. So there's no distractions at all. Okay? If you wonder why you can't focus, why you feel like everything is chaotic, why you feel anxious, why you feel anxiety, it's probably because your life is too complicated. And it's up to you personally to change that. You can change it, right? But the first thing a lot of people do is they think, okay, I want to change my life. But then they feel this gap between where they're at and where they want to go. So they either feel like they have to make a bunch of massive choices that day, and then they're chaotic in their approach to solve the problem. And guess what? Albert Einstein said that no problem can be solved from the state of consciousness that created it. Right? So if you're chaotic in your approach to solving your life of chaos, you're never going to solve it, because that chaotic state of mind that you have is being reflected in your attempts to solve the problem. So a lot of people see this big gap between where they're at and where they want to go, but then they fail to remember that to get there, you can't try to get there chaotically, because if you want to live an orderly life and you're living a chaotic life, you can't get closer to order through more chaos. Right? You have to get closer to order, through simple thinking, clear solutions. So, you need to pick something to do with your life, because otherwise you're divided in multiple angles, just like if I had a dirty room. Okay? Now, maybe your thing is to be a mother, a stay-at-home mother that wants to spend all her time and energy in raising her kids, spending time loving them, teaching them, watching over them, guiding them, all of that good stuff, right? Maybe you just want to be a mom. Maybe you want to be a business owner. But you got to pick what your thing is and go all in on it. Because if you have a bunch of things going on at once, you're not going to do any of them very effectively. So, okay. So basically, most people live a chaotic life. So their outside world is chaotic. It's going in a bunch of directions. As a result of that, inside of them, what they feel inside of them is also chaotic. So there's that connection between what their outside world is and what their inside world is. It's unbreakable. It's impossible to break that bond between what's inside of you and what's outside of you and what's outside of you and what's inside of you. It's constantly reflecting itself. So, a lot of times people say, okay, well, I live this life, I want to change, how do I do it? That's a good question to ask yourself. How are you going to change, right? It's an open-ended question. It hopefully gets your mind thinking, because if you're serious about change, then you should probably be looking for solutions. So basically, if you're in this state where your life is chaotic and you don't know where you're going and you feel anxious, everything outside of you is going in a bunch of directions, then you need to change what's inside of you, right? You need to change what you're feeling. And a lot of people are like, okay, well, this is a catch-22. If I have a bad environment, then I'm going to feel bad. No, you don't have to. You don't have to feel bad. You can choose to be grateful for what you have. Because in all honesty, I don't know for sure. You might be sleeping on a bed or you might be homeless right now. But in all likelihood, you probably have a place to sleep. You probably have food. And you probably have air. Okay? So stop complaining. Right? You're alive. And there's people that don't have food. So be grateful for what you have already. You can change what's inside of you without the outside being dependent on it. In fact, you're way more powerful than anything outside of you. The outside world is a reflection of what is inside of you. So you absolutely can change. You are bigger than your fears. You're bigger than your past mistakes. You're bigger than your anxiety that you might be feeling right now. You're bigger than literally any affliction, any form of suffering in your life that you're experiencing. You are bigger than it. Because what's inside of you is bigger than anything outside of you. So, might not be right now. Well, it is inherently. So basically, the way that it works is inside of you, you have unlimited potential. Okay, there's literally no limit to the potential that you hold inside of you. But you can let it become quiescent, or you can let it become dormant, right? Where it's not active anymore. So basically, a lot of people are living these really chaotic lives. A lot of people have so much going on, and if they would just take their life and cancel this and cancel that and cancel that and cancel that and cancel this and cancel that and cancel this and just focus on that one main thing, then their life is going to be a lot simpler. Inside of them, they're going to have a real change happen. As that real change happens inside of them, everything that's crazy on the outside world automatically gets fixed. It just does. It can't escape that law. Okay, so let's go ahead and clear this off. Okay, so yeah, basically make it a game to simplify and focus your energies. Establish your purposes and channel your focus. Okay? You have the power within you to calm things down, to figure out what's truly important, to set a goal, to begin with the end in mind, and to go for it. Okay? You don't need to live this chaotic life. You don't need to. It's your choice. So, simplify the process and channel your energies. Okay, number 2, there's always a root cause. So we've been talking about this a little bit, but you are not destined to feel this way forever. Okay? I can promise you that. You're not destined to feel this way forever. Plain and simple. There is a root cause, and it can be eliminated. It doesn't have to be eliminated. It's still your choice. You can choose to live with it or choose not to. So let's talk about root causes. We talked about a little bit root causes, chaos, trying to pick too many things at once, right? You need to focus on one thing in your life. Simplify, set a goal, make sure it's a worthy goal, and go for it. If you have doubts, if you have fears along the way, just do it. Just keep going. You'll make it through, I promise. So basically, you have a root cause for everything. So there's always anxiety. Okay, so in yesterday's video, we talked about how money is the effect of something. It's not a cause. Money is the effect of valuable service. Valuable service is the effect of reducing suffering. Okay? Pretty simple. So same is true also for anxiety. There is a root cause of anxiety, and it can be changed. If the cause stops happening, the effect will stop occurring. It's pretty simple, right? There is a cause for your anxiety. Number 1, it's a signal. So first of all, understand that you're not a bad person for feeling anxiety, and you're not necessarily like evil for it, and you're not like necessarily an evil person for having a chaotic life if you do, but it is causing suffering, right? It's causing unnecessary suffering. So Number one, understand anxiety is a signal, okay? It generally signals, guess what, that something is wrong. Because anxiety is the effect of a cause. So it's a signal. It's signaling to you that there is a cause for it, because it is the effect. So the very first thing you understand that's really helpful to understand is anxiety is a signal, okay? It's telling you something about yourself. That's what it's doing. Because if you're sure of yourself, then you're probably not going to experience a signal like this very often. The reason why we feel anxiety is because we're not sure of ourselves, we don't know where we're going, we fear the future, we condemn ourselves for the past, right? We're in all of this negative junk that's not helpful. And what it's doing is it's like a river that's dammed, it's damming your spirit. When you have all these doubts about yourself, when you're condemning yourself, when you're too self-judgmental, when you fear the future, when you don't know where you're going, that's like a bunch of muck that's damming the flow of spiritual energy in your life, right? It's like, I don't know what else to say. That's spiritual muck. And it's slowing you down. And so instead of like trying to remove anxiety, instead of trying to be like, okay, I'm going to pluck this thing from me, I'm going to just stop feeling like this. Instead, what needs to happen is a shift of focus. Okay? A shift of focus has to happen. Because the root cause is your state of mind, your state of consciousness, your body, your mind. It's all working together, right? And so because the root is internal, even though you're experiencing the external reflection of that, because it's an internal thing, it has to be changed from inside. So your perspective, your focus, your attitude, right? Your perspective on life has to change. If your perspective on life changes, surrounding yourself, surrounding your future, surrounding how you feel about your past, your anxiety is going to go away. Not because you tried to pull your anxiety away from you, not because you tried to rip it out, but because you literally planted different seeds and cultivated those until they overpowered the weaker plants around. So yeah, you do need to do weeding, right? You do need to like pull certain things. If you have a bad thought, you do need to like pull it out quickly and stuff. But you don't want to try to fight with yourself. You just want to work with yourself. Right? You don't rip a weed out like angrily, right? You just pull out a weed. You just go weed the garden. You just pull the weeds. And you have your corn planted and you water your corn, and pretty soon your corn is bigger than your weeds. And after a while you don't even really have to weed the garden because your corn is so big that the weeds aren't even taking away from the nutrients, right? But that's later in the season. You don't have to weed it then because you don't even barely notice. It's too small. It's unnoticeable. Oh, just like if you're in an airplane and everybody looks like ants, if you have a strong self-image, your anxiety looks like nothing. You don't even notice it or see it because it's so small, so minuscule that it's not affecting you in any way. And even if it arises for a second, you're able to just let it arise. You don't fight with it. You let it arise. You feel the feeling. You feel into it. And it goes away. It goes away itself. But if you're trying to fight it, imagine going and weeding your garden and being like angry at all the weeds. You're going to pull the corn up too, right? If you do that. So yeah, you got to address the root cause, which is inside of you. It's probably self-image related. It's probably fearing the future, condemning yourself for the past. And so therefore, the manifestation of that unknowingness, that muck, that lack of self-knowledge is anxiety. That's the signal. You are receiving anxiety not because you're a bad person, but literally because it's a signal. In fact, it's a sign that you do love yourself. It's a sign that you love yourself. Because you want change, right? So your body is signaling to you that you need to change. Anxiety is a sign that you love yourself. It's a signal from your own body telling yourself, hey, look, there's something you need to change. That's what it is. It's a signal. So yeah, the truth of the matter really is, you guys, that anxiety is not some bad thing. It is suffering, it is detrimental, and it will slow you down. And it's important that it needs to be addressed, but really it's a signal that you're made for bigger things than where you're at right now. Right? That's what anxiety really is. Like, if you have self-knowledge, if you have a positive self-image, you know where you're going, you don't fear the future, you've forgiven yourself and others for the past, then you're not going to experience that feeling. Your self-image is going to be so much bigger than these weak little minuscule things. And when I say that, you might be hearing and saying, oh, weak little, you don't know how I feel. It sucks. It engulfs my whole self. Really, like, yeah, it does suck. And I do know how you feel, at least to a degree, because I've been there myself. I've experienced anxiety before. I know what it's like to feel it, right? I do know what it's like, but to be honest with you, it's only big because your self-image is small, right? If you're able to change those things, where your self-image becomes bigger, your anxiety will fall lower. Even to the point of, like I said, how corn gets so full of nutrients that the weeds can't even barely get as much nutrients as they could because the corn plant gets bigger. That's the same thing true for your self-image. Yes, weed the garden, clean out those weeds. Don't try to rip them out. Don't be angry with them, but address your self-image. Address your self-image, grow your self-image, and your fears, your doubts, your anxieties will just naturally be small. They're only big right now because your self-image is small. So yeah, change your self-image and you're going to change your life, right? My camera battery keeps dying, so just going to have to work with that in these videos. It's whatever. The main point of these videos is to teach you guys what I've learned through my own experiences over time. So I'm not trying to be perfect in these videos, whatever. If the camera battery dies, sometimes we'll just start from where we left off, right? So yeah, anxiety is a signal. It's a sign that you love yourself and that you want to be better. You want to have a better life situation. You want to have a better self-image. But the problem is that you don't, right? That's the root cause. So the signal of anxiety is has a root cause, and the root cause of anxiety is self-image. That's the root cause, right? The images you hold of yourself in your mind, the images you hold of your future, your past, your relationships, which you have chosen, by the way. It's about your image of those things, the thing that you hold in your mind. So how can you change that, right? Let's say you have an aspect of yourself that you don't like. Like maybe, let's see, what's a good one? Like maybe you are quick to anger, okay? Maybe you're quick to anger. So you have this self-image thing where every time you get angry, you're like, oh man, I'm quick to anger, right? You tell yourself that. And then later, what do you find? Well, you find that every time you get angry, you find that you're quick to be angry. Okay? Right? Like imagine that you believe something about yourself, and so whenever anything outside of you creates the right variables for that thing to happen, that belief becomes a reality. Okay? So it feels like you have anger and it feels like you don't have control over it, but it's because of your self-image, because you've told yourself over time that you can't control your temper, right? You've had experiences and you complain to yourself, oh, I can't control my temper. You even talk with other people about your inability to control your temper. Okay? And then you wonder why your body, your mind, your heart believes that you can't control your temper. You've drilled it into yourself, right? Like, what do you expect? Of course it's going to feel like that. So if you change your self-image and you start saying, I do have control over my temper, right? And you start believing that, even if it doesn't feel real at the start, that feeling like you have control over your temper will become bigger over time than that feeling that you can't control it, until the feeling of your ability to control it becomes so big that the idea that you're ever not able to control it is like crazy to you. It doesn't even seem like a reality anymore, okay? So yes, you can control your temper, but the same thing is true for your self-image, okay? Like let's say that you fear the future, but you tell yourself that all the time. You call other people and say, oh my gosh, I can't handle the feelings I'm feeling about the future, whether you word it exactly like that or not, okay? So your self-image is, first of all, that something might go terribly wrong. So you have the wrong idea about God, because God doesn't let bad things happen in your life unless there's a reason for it. Okay? He does everything for a reason. So if you're fearing that some bad thing in the future is going to happen, you don't understand the nature of God correctly. The nature of God is that He doesn't do anything without reason, and that He loves His people. Okay? So you don't need to fear the future. Yeah, crazy things might happen. Of course, in fact, they will. In everybody's life, there's going to be things that happen that are hard, that are difficult. Everybody has it. Right? Everybody does. But the point of the matter is that you don't have to fear the future. You can accept the reality of life, that challenges are part of life that help you grow, that help you expand. And then you can trust God and say, if God puts a challenge in my life, there's a reason. Ask Him what that reason is, And then all of a sudden, your self-image about the future has changed because you understand the nature of reality, right? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So, but it's also true for, like I said, let's say that you are anxious, okay? Fact of the matter is that you have a self-image of anxiety. Okay, your self-image believes that you are afflicted with anxiety. That is an inner belief that you have. Now, you can try to deny that, but the fact of the matter is that people overcome anxiety. There's people that have lived with the worst panic attacks and anxiety ever and overcome it to where they don't feel any anxiety, they don't feel any panic attacks. They just feel at peace with themselves. Okay? Well, what changed? Right? Their body is the same. Right? The vehicle, their flesh is the same. Their genetic makeup is the same. Right? So what changed? What changed? Their beliefs changed. Right? C.S. Lewis, shout out to C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis said, "We are what we believe." We are. We are what we believe we are. So if you have a belief about yourself that you can't control your life, that you're powerless, that you are just eternally afflicted, that nothing can change, that if you have all these beliefs, you're not going to find a solution, okay? Right? Because your state of consciousness is the problem. And like I said earlier, Albert Einstein said, the state of consciousness, or a problem cannot be solved from the state of consciousness that created it. Okay? So if you're in this place where you believe that you have anxiety, that you believe that you're powerless over it, that you believe there isn't a solution, that you believe it's just going to be a lifelong thing, your state of consciousness is going to continue to find evidence to support that belief. So you need to change what's inside of you, self-image, right? So let's talk about how to change your self-image. First of all, the very first most important thing to change your self-image is to know yourself, okay? Know thyself. So Socrates said, "Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God." Or maybe it was Pythagoras. I can't remember which one. I think it was Pythagoras. I'm pretty sure they both said to know yourself. But yeah, know yourself, okay? Self-image, who are you? Well, you're certainly not a blind process of randomness. You didn't get onto this earth out of chance. Life is not meaningless. So who are you? Like, what constitutes Dallin? Okay, yeah, I've got a body. That's cool. It's awesome. My body is sacred. It's special. Right? But where did I come from? Who am I? Okay? Who am I really? Well, I am a child of God, and you are too. And that's what knowing yourself is. Okay? To know thyself is to realize that you are a child of God. Okay? Your origins are divine. Okay? That's a huge self-image changer. That's one of the first things people, because if you believe that you're an accident of nature, that there's no reason that you're here, that life is meaningless, There's no reason for anything. Your self-image is going to be probably pretty low, right? You're going to be like, okay, well, there's no point behind life itself, so there's really no reason for anything, okay? That's nihilism. That's what nihilism is. So the first thing to address your self-image is to know that you are a child of God, like you have divine origin, okay? That's the first thing to change your self-image, because once you know that and you understand that God is love, that he doesn't do anything outside of love ever, and that you're a child of God and he cares for you, that's going to change a lot of your self-image. So know yourself, okay? Very first thing is to know yourself. Second to that, you guys, after you know yourself, and that's a lifelong process, by the way. It's not like you're just going to automatically wake up one day and be like, oh, I fully realized that I'm a child of God. No, you probably will realize it over time. You'll grow in your understanding of that truth, but at the start, you just need to know that it is true. Because it is true. So, know yourself, okay? That's going to change a lot, right? God wants you to succeed. He doesn't want you to experience unnecessary suffering over things. He wants your success. So knowing yourself is a great way to address your self-image. And when you address your self-image, your anxiety goes down, your hope for the future increases. So yeah, know yourself. Pretty simple. Pretty much everybody, every person that I've ever studied that really was a brilliant person, they knew about this. Okay, they knew themselves. So yeah, know yourself. That's one great way to address your self-image. The other thing, you guys, to address self-image is pretty simple. So obviously, it's like I said earlier, it's common for people to live a chaotic life. It's common for people to live just going in a lot of directions at once. Okay? And so the very first thing to address your self-image outside of knowing yourself is to simplify. Okay? Just simplify your life. Okay? I don't know what else to say. Reduce the things that you're trying to do and focus on what's truly important and put all of your energy into those things. Simplify your life. That's going to change your self-image significantly. Clean your room, okay? Clean your room, but also clean your mind and your heart and your actions. Okay? So live with good moral conduct. Okay, good moral conduct is going to create feelings of peace. Pretty simple. If I'm always treating everybody in my life angrily, if I'm always if I'm lying to people, lying's a big one, okay? If you're lying to people, your inner peace is going to be very low. Your anxiety is probably going to be pretty high, right? So living virtuously is actually very effective for reducing anxiety. The other thing is your load becomes lighter when you help lift somebody else's load. And I'm not talking about self-sacrifice in a detrimental way. You can't give more than you have, really, right? But I am talking about like serving people, being outgoing. Stop worrying about yourself. Start saying hi to other people. Start hanging out with other people. Start being kind to other people. Start, taking the trash back from the road for them, or whatever it is, okay? Whatever it is that's your thing to serve people, that you're good at serving. Maybe you're social. Maybe you are just good at doing little things in secret, like little acts of service. Start serving people. Forget yourself. I told you to know yourself, but I'm also telling you to forget yourself, okay? Because that's part of knowing yourself. If you're always concerned purely about everything inside of you alone, you're probably going to forget to serve other people. And your self-image is going to be bad because if you're always thinking about yourself only, what basically happens when you do that, it's super, super simple. So if you start thinking about yourself all the time, then you literally become engulfed in yourself. Okay? You become your own worst enemy, right? So good moral conduct, serving others, being kind to other people, loving other people, doing good things is seriously one of the best ways to reduce anxiety, because you're not stewing in your own self, okay? Like if I'm serving somebody else, it's really hard for me personally to be anxious. It's really hard for me personally to be mad. It's really hard for me personally to be worried about my future, right? If I'm serving somebody else, it's almost impossible for me to feel any of these negative emotions of anxiety, panic, fear, anything. Okay, so it's a lot of management of yourself. Are you super concerned about yourself all the time? Or are you concerned about the joy that others are experiencing? Okay? So you're going to have to ask yourself, what can I do to serve other people? What can I do to improve my moral conduct? Like I said, anxiety is a signal. Maybe you're not doing enough for other people. Or maybe you're not doing enough for other people, or maybe you're living outside of correct moral conduct. Okay? Maybe you're lying. Maybe you have, some crazy thing that you're doing you're not supposed to be doing. Right? Stealing, lying, cheating, whatever. Any form of improper moral conduct is going to create anxiety and probably anger and probably fear. Okay? Because the fruits of those actions are bad. So, change your moral conduct. Really look at yourself, because it's easy to say, oh, well, I serve people, I'm outgoing, I'm kind. And then the second that you're in the opportunity to go serve people, to be kind to people, what do? You sit there and you don't do anything. Right? You probably have, that's the other thing about self-image, is you could have an incorrect or an inaccurate self-image as well. So there's like believing something into reality, where you want something, so you believe it into reality, even though it doesn't feel real to you at the start. And then there's lying to yourself completely, right? If you have a problem with serving other people, then it's probably pretty likely that lying to yourself completely includes things like, let's see here, like feeling like you probably feel like you're already kind of good, but you're really using that as a way to ignore the things that do need to be changed. And you got to stop doing that. Okay, like pretty simple. You got to stop. You got to stop doing that. Okay. So yeah, basically, you guys, good moral conduct leads to good feelings of peace, leads to joy, leads to enlightenment, peace. All of those things that you're looking for comes from good moral conduct. And if you're not exercising good moral conduct, you're probably not truly, really going to feel good about yourself, okay? So start serving other people. Get out of your comfort zone. You might have an incorrect self-image. You might have a low self-image. Those are two different things. A low self-image is the result of just having a bad opinion of yourself. An incorrect self-image is believing, like, let's say you believe that you're kind to people even though you're actually rude to them. So that's different, okay? That actually does come from low self-image a lot of times. So yeah, make it a game to simplify your life, focus your energies, establish your purpose, and channel your focus. Also, there's always a root cause of anxiety. Anxiety is the result of suffering, or anxiety is suffering, which is the result of a root cause. And that root cause is able to be addressed. So you're not destined to be like that forever. I promise you, you're not destined to be anxious forever. It's not a fixity. It can be changed. The other thing is so if you've simplified your life, and you've changed your moral conduct, and you are trying to be a good person, you've changed your self-image, you know you're a child of God, you're trying to simplify your life, and don't tell me that you have simplified your life until you actually have, okay? Like, I'm still in the process of doing it for myself. It's easy as a human being to try to go too many directions at once. Okay, like simplify things. Don't lie to yourself. So if you've done all those things and you've simplified your life, you are still experiencing some form of anxiety, then swim with it, okay? Swim with it. Go with it. Don't fight it. Swim with it. Okay, the worst thing you can do, or the most common thing that people do, is when they feel anxiety arising within them, the very first thing that they do is they try to fight it. Okay? Like, what does that do? It creates a negative relationship, mindset with the problem. So you're reinforcing your frustration. Okay? The worst thing you can possibly do is to try to fight your anxiety. Go with it. In fact, swim with it. Okay? Like it's your friend. Like, you know how when you jump into water and you're swimming through the water and you feel really good and the water feels really good? Okay? Right? I know it seems impossible because it's going to feel like jumping into cold water at the start instead of good, nice water. But just try to swim with it. Instead of trying to fight it, see if you can go into the feeling and say, oh, maybe this is a signal. Maybe see if you can go into it. You can put some music on, right? You can put some music on, go into the music, and let yourself completely feel it all the way. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to hold it back. Don't try to control it. Let yourself feel the anxiety, okay? I know it sounds revolutionary or whatever, but it's really not. You know why emotion has a hard time flowing? Because if you grasp onto emotion, try grabbing water, okay? You can't really grab water, but you can slow it down. You can cause resistance. Okay, you can stop it, you can dam water, but you can't just grab it with your hands, it's gonna fall. You could slow it down, but it's gonna feel like this endless fight. Like, it's just not effective. Okay, so, well, what do? Instead of trying to fight the emotion, you let it flow down the river. Okay? You let it flow. You make it your friend. You go into the feeling completely. And instead of judging it as a bad thing, you understand it's a signal. You go into that feeling completely and you let yourself fully, completely feel it through. And then it goes away. Over time. Okay? And sometimes it might go away the first time. This stuff works, you guys. So, if you've got anxiety, chances are your emotion is trying to flow, okay? It's trying to flow. But because you're judging the emotion, because you're scared of the emotion, because you're trying to fight the emotion, because you're doing all these different things, you know what's happening? You're making a mess. And then it can't flow. And it's going everywhere. And you're making it worse. And bigger. Right? By trying to fight it. Trying to control it. Trying to make it stop. Okay? You just have to go with it. If you've ever had any type of experience addressing deep psychologically rooted problems, then you probably know what it's like to have something arise that is scary or difficult to deal with. And if you're good at it, if you're good at emotional management, you don't try to fight that thing. You let it come to the surface. You see it for what it is. You let it be. You understand it. And then you let it keep flowing. Let it keep going. Because your life is, you're just never, like I said, you can't use anxiety to stop anxiety. You can't get angry at your anxiety and expect anxiety to have less power. What's the greatest, what do they say? The greatest reward is not to be like your enemies, okay? So, first of all, don't make anxiety your enemy, because if you do, it's going to get worse, okay? Maybe you don't want it anymore, okay? That's okay to want to be free from suffering. But don't make anxiety your enemy. Okay? Make it your friend. Make it your friend. So, here's the thing. Basically, the greatest reward is not to be like your enemies. So, even though you should make anxiety your friend, let's pretend that it is your enemy, just for the sake of this example, okay? So let's pretend it's your enemy, okay? When you feel anxiety, what do most people do? They try to fight anxiety with anger, with frustration. They try to fight it with the emotions that are causing it. Okay? So if the best revenge is not to be like your enemies, don't fight anxiety with fear. Don't fight anxiety with anger. And fight anxiety with love. Make your enemy your friend. Go into that feeling. Okay? Don't be like your enemy. You have to go into the feeling, feel it completely, let yourself feel it through. Let yourself be that feeling. And then guess what's going to happen? You won't give power to it anymore. Okay? You just don't give power to it. Don't give power. It's like an emotional battery, okay? And if you don't recharge it, it can't run. Recharge your batteries of joy, of positive self-image, of knowing yourself. Recharge those batteries, okay? And your anxiety is going to go down. But don't try to fight it. Don't be angry at it. Don't be frustrated with it. Just focus on literally making it your friend. And then remember that the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. So even though now it's your friend, it used to be your enemy, keep it your friend. Keep it your friend. Fight it with love, and I promise you it will go away. It will go away. You don't have to be suffering from anxiety. Okay? Like, there is a root cause, and that cause can be addressed. There is a solution. So, swim with it, okay? So let's go ahead and review a little bit what we've been talking about today. All right, so number one, simplify. Okay, simplify your life. Straightforward, simple, just simplify your life, okay? It's going to change your life. You'll be so glad you did. Okay, number two, there is a root cause. So, you're not just experiencing these things because God hates you or because whatever. No, not true at all, period. You're experiencing these things because there's a root cause. It's a signal, it's a sign that you actually love yourself and that you want to be better. You want to have that your life is not the way it should be, or at least your perspective of life isn't the way it should be. Probably both. And therefore, you're feeling those things. It's a signal, okay? It has a root cause, and that root cause can be addressed. It can be, okay? So simplify your life, address the root cause, whatever it is. It's probably self-image related. It could be other things. It could be lying. It could be stealing, it could be all kinds of things, okay? But yeah, address the root cause, okay? Address the root cause. More than likely, it probably actually has to do with the first thing here, which is that your life is too complicated. You need to simplify your life. You need to focus on, just meditation, having a clean room, clean mind, clean heart, clean everything. Be clean, okay? So yeah, if you simplify your life, it's going to be a lot easier. Things are going to go so much smoother. You're going to be so glad that you did. And it really is like a breath of fresh air. Simplify your life, clean your life, stop swimming in spiritual muck, stop swimming in physical muck. Maybe you have a dirty room. Maybe you have dirty clothes or whatever. Clean your life, okay? Spiritually, physically, simplify and clean your life. The next thing, you guys, is to swim with it. Swim with it, okay? So swim. So, swimming with it is what I talked about earlier, which is don't fight it, okay? These are the three things, the three secrets to eliminating anxiety right here, okay? So don't fight your anxiety. It's there for a reason. And the worst thing you can do is try to become at odds with it, try to fight it, or identify with it, okay? Make it your friend, but don't make it your eternal partner in crime, right? Just, okay, swim with it. Just let go a little bit or go into it. But don't fight. Don't hold on. Don't try to stop it. It doesn't work. It doesn't help to do that, okay? But I promise you guys that if you change these things, your life will change. If you simplify your life, you're going to experience less stress, less anxiety. If you know where you're going, you know who you are, you know why you're doing what you do, and your life is simple. You're not divided in 1,000 billion directions. You have one or two things that you're really focused on. Then your life is going to have less anxiety. You're going to experience more joy. You're going to feel more peace. You're going to have more energy, more poise, more focus, all because you simplified and focused your life. So make it a game to do this, like a game, you know? And then address the root cause, which probably has to do with simplification, but it also probably has to do with self-image, which is associated with simplification. But your self-image needs to change, okay? Like, you got to change your self-image, what you believe about yourself. Those beliefs about yourself that are inaccurate, change those to be accurate, okay? Those beliefs about yourself that are unhelpful, change those to be helpful, okay? If you believe that you're stricken with anxiety for the rest of your life, change that belief. Because you can change. You can change. So yeah, the root of the problem is self-image related. Self-image can be changed. You chose your current self-image, unconsciously or consciously, but you chose it through choosing thoughts, choosing actions, choosing feelings. So you can choose your self-image and change it, and then you'll be addressing the root cause of anxiety. Now, if you've done both of those things and you're still experiencing anxiety, you're still experiencing panic attacks, whatever it is, I know it is something that afflicts a lot of people in today's world. So, you know, maybe you've tried these other two things and it's still not working. Go for this. Go for swimming with it. Just try it. You know, if you already get panic attacks, try to swim with it next time. See if you can make that feeling your friend. Go into the feeling. See if you can let it really completely overcome you, okay? And let it happen. And then all of a sudden you'll realize that it's losing its power, that it doesn't have the same strength that it had before. Have you ever watched Monsters, Inc.? Well, those monsters, they get their energy off of the fear of children, okay? Right? So they're fed by the fear of children in these Monsters, Inc. whatever, dream simulations or whatever. I can't remember exactly how it works, okay? But either way, if you imagine your anxiety is like those monsters, it feeds off of your fear of it. It feeds off of your trying to control it. It feeds off of your frustration with it. That gives it power. Just like how the monsters get power from scaring children in Monsters, Inc., fear gives those monsters power, okay? In your own mind, it's a metaphor for your mind. Really, that's what Monsters, Inc. is, if you think about it. Because the honest truth of the matter is that each of us has monsters and demons and fears and things inside of us. But guess what? The food that those things thrive off of are the very things themselves. Okay? Right? Fear creates more anger. Anger creates more anxiety. Anxiety creates more frustration. Frustration creates more fear. Okay? Isn't that crazy? The monsters inside of you are being fed by their own food. And you're feeding them because you're giving them power. So don't fear your fear. Don't fear your anxiety. Make it your friend. Okay, like don't give it power. And the way that you don't give it power is you swim with it. You say, instead of fighting anxiety with fear, maybe you're starting to feel anxious, and instead of being like, oh no, not again. No, not again, right? Instead of doing that, say, here it comes. Here we go. I get to have another opportunity to see if I can exercise my self-control, see if I can swim with this feeling, even though it might be slightly uncomfortable, or whatever, maybe very uncomfortable, depending on how severe it is. You swim with that feeling, okay? And as you swim with it, you're fighting it with love. You're making it your friend. Okay? And then guess what? When the monster doesn't have the source of its energy, it goes away. It can't survive anymore. So it's inside of you that all of that stuff is happening. And it's inside of you that you're able to change it. And it's also within your power to change it. Because the reason all these things are happening is because of law that doesn't change. So you can use that law and change it. Because the law isn't going to change. The laws that run this universe are not going to change. Okay? So if you've used those laws either ignorantly or unknowingly, or maybe just, maybe it is knowingly, who knows? If you've used those laws to produce negative effects, you can also use them to produce good effects. It's within your power to do so. So anxiety is addressable. It is something that can be changed. It is something that is in your power to change. And no, it's not a genetic affliction. No, it's not something that you're destined to struggle with no matter what. No, it's none of those things. Those very beliefs are the beliefs that are feeding that monster. Guess what? Believing that you can't overcome anxiety is a fear that you won't ever be able to. That's what it is. That's why you believe it, because you first feared it. And what you fear, you worship, whether you're aware of it or not. Right? Like what you fear, you worship. So, basically, your beliefs can change. Your current beliefs are probably ignorantly created. It's probably not your fault that you believe all these things, but it is a problem. It is slowing you down from progress. It is the reason you're experiencing anxiety. Okay? So if you change that self-image, if you change your beliefs, you're going to change your life, and you're going to experience less anxiety. You're going to experience less fear, more joy. Start planting good seeds, okay? Start planting good seeds. I promise you, if you plant good seeds, you feed good seeds, and you don't try to fight evil with evil. You can't fight anxiety with fear, okay? Doesn't work, ever, period, never does. Flash alert, news alert, whatever. It never works. So you have to fight evil with good. And if anxiety is this feeling that you don't want, and you don't like that feeling, you got to fight it with good. So shift your focus. Instead of trying to fight your anxiety in the sense of like being against it with your emotions, like being angry, like being angry at your anxiety, being frustrated with your anxiety, being anxious over your anxiety, which happens a lot. Those types of things, you guys, those types of things like can never produce good results. Okay, so when I say fight anxiety with love, I'm not saying to fight, like to be at war with your anxiety in that sense. I'm just using fight as a word to describe using positive emotions and positive things to overpower the negative, okay? To where it doesn't have any hold over you anymore. But you can't use the negative to overcome the negative. It's an infinite loop. So you got to change your approach. And then you don't want to try to fight those negative emotions because that gives them power. When I say fight, I mean, fight with the same, okay, you do want to fight it. Okay, we'll use the word fight, right? But you want to fight it with the positive ones. And when the negative ones arise, don't fight them. Okay, don't create resistance. Work with them. Let it flow. Let it become your friend. And you're going to feel, all of a sudden, you're going to notice, you're going to be like, whoa, my anxiety is gone. I gave all this power to it. I tried to fight it. I tried to fear it. I tried to get angry at it. I tried to tell it to go away. I tried to just think positive. No, none of that stuff worked. Right? None of it worked. You know why? Because you're trying to basically like none of those things work because you're trying to fight it. Right? It's okay to fight it in the sense of like having a desire to overcome it. It's okay to have that kind of fight, right? To fight evil with good, to use good emotions and stuff to overcome the anxiety. But what it's not okay to do, it's not okay to try to be at war with it in the sense that like you're creating inner resistance. So you got to stop creating inner resistance. Okay? And the way to stop creating inner resistance is to simplify your life, to clean your life, to change your self-image. And that will change your state of consciousness, and your state of mind will change the rest of your life. Okay? Like I said before, Albert Einstein said, no problem can be solved from the same state of consciousness that created it. You can't fight anxiety with anxiety. That's what I mean by you can't fight. Okay? You can't fight it with the same things that created it. Okay? If we want to use the word fight, we can use fight it with love, but not in the sense of just try to be happy, I'm happy. It's okay to listen to affirmations. it's important to listen to affirmations. It's important to be around positive, empowering information, people, places, things, right? Those are all super helpful things. But you can't just sit there and try to manufacture something that's fake, right? So what do? You flow with it. Don't fight it. Flow with it. Okay? Sounds crazy, but it really works. So anyways, basically the human body is a spiritual and physical thing. So really everything is spiritual at the end of the day. But because we eat physical, like because we're in a physical body, what we do with our body really does matter. Like if we are thinking good thoughts, if we're eating good food, if we're meditating, we're praying, we're spending time outside, we're doing all of those things, then yeah, our body is going to feel better, our spirit is going to feel better, and we're going to have power over those things. We're going to have power over anxiety, we're going to have power over fear, over doubts, all of those things, okay? Because you're taking care of your body. So even though everything is spiritual, you are still like in a physical body, and what you do with your physical body affects your spirit. Because they're actually joined together. Like you can't break the bond. So yeah, if you want to free yourself from anxiety, discipline yourself, okay? Meditate once a day, okay? Because like I said, that body that you have, okay? This body that you have, this little guy right here, sitting in this meditation pose, he can either be fighting with himself, he can either be fighting with reality, he can be fighting with his emotions, he can be out of harmony with them, or through prayer, through meditation, through self-purification, through faith, through self-image changing, you can be in harmony with. You can be in harmony with your mind, your body, your spirit. All of it can be in harmony. And what does that look like? Well, that looks like the energy is flowing, okay? The energy is flowing all of a sudden. All of a sudden, this body is working the way it's supposed to be working. And you feel good. You feel amazing, in fact. And you begin to wonder how you ever got along without meditation, without prayer. You begin to wonder how you ever felt all of those things. Because all of a sudden now you're operating from this place of harmony. And harmony can't create disharmony, right? If something is in tune, it's going to play in tune. Okay? It has to be out of tune to play out of tune. I know it sounds stupidly simple because it kind of is, but really, if your body, your spirit, your mind is in harmony, your life is going to be in harmony. Okay, you're going to feel good about yourself. You're going to feel joy. You're going to feel peace. You're going to feel confidence. You're going to feel energy. You're going to feel focus. You're going to feel poise. You know why? Because those are states of mind that are created from harmonious living. Harmonious living with spiritual laws. So So yeah, anxiety can be addressed. It can be not only eliminated or not only reduced, but completely eliminated. It can be to where you never, ever, ever feel anxious. That's real. Okay? Like you can do that. You can get to that place, but that place has to be cultivated. Okay? That place has to be worked for. You're in a state of disharmony. You've got to tune your guitar. Okay? You got to take the time to tune each note. And one of the best ways to do that is through meditation, because meditation not only simplifies your life, but meditation also changes your self-image, okay? So it addresses your root cause. And finally, meditation helps you flow with emotion instead of fighting against emotion. So meditation improves your ability to use all three of the solutions that I talked about in today's video. So this is really one of the best ways to get that energy flowing around the body, to get that spiritual flow going that you're looking for in your life. Meditation is a great way to do that. And as you get that spiritual flow going, you're not going to feel those things. If you do, it will arise, it will go away. You focus on what's important, stop worrying about what isn't important, and then boom, just like that. A week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later of daily meditation, of simplifying your life, of changing your self-image, of knowing yourself, and all of a sudden, guess what? You're completely free from anxiety. Okay? And probably a lot of other problems too. So yeah, it's change what is inside of you. You will change what is outside of you. It's impossible to escape that law. It works every single time. Every single time. Every single time this works, you guys. And after you apply that in your life, after you practice meditation, after you do those things, even if you just take one of the things I talked about today and apply that one thing, you're probably going to see improvement, okay? You're probably going to see massive improvement. So yeah, you guys, it is changeable. You can be free from it. And no, you're not afflicted for the rest of your life. No, your problem is not a fixity. Okay? You're not bound to it. And you're not even a victim of it. It's a signal. Okay? It's a signal to you that you yourself have either consciously or unconsciously chosen certain things that created a self-image, that created a lack of simplicity, and that created a feeling of wanting to control. Okay? And you got to let go of those. Let go of your desire to control. You got to simplify your life, and you definitely want to address that root cause, which is self-image related. Okay? That is the source of your anxiety. So, if you change these things, you will be free from anxiety forever. Okay? Yes, you have to keep doing them. You have to maintain harmony. But if you continue to maintain harmony, it's going to continue to build you up. Okay? It feeds back onto itself. Just exactly like how your anxiety right now is feeding back onto itself like this. Right? Where it feels like it's just, I feel it, I feel anxiety, it creates more anxiety. I feel it, it creates more. I feel it, it creates more. That feeling that you have is feeding back into itself continuously, right? It's like a loop, okay? You feel anxious and then you feel worse. Or you feel angry and then you're mad at yourself for getting angry. Right? It's a negative feedback loop. Okay? What I'm telling you to do today is, even if it's small, create a positive feedback loop in your life. And even if that positive feedback loop is really small at the start, smaller than your negative feedback loop, it will become bigger and it will overpower the negative feedback loop until your positive one is, guess what? The only one that matters. And all of a sudden, you're having positive experiences. You're feeling joy. You're feeling confidence. You're feeling focus. You're feeling poise. You're feeling able to do what you're supposed to do each day, right? You're capable. You're competent, okay? If you're experiencing competence and capability and joy and peace and all of those different emotions, it's going to feed back into itself. And you're going to experience more and more and more of those things. And yes, you can be completely free from anxiety. Because the second that this feedback loop gets bigger and you keep feeding it and you keep cultivating it, it will overpower those older ones. And because it's a feedback loop, it will get bigger and bigger and bigger. You'll experience more joy, more peace, more love, more joy, more peace, and it's just going to keep going continuously. Okay? So you have the solution in your own heart and mind to solve this problem. And you're not a bad person for having it. And you're not a bad person for it. But it is a signal. It is a sign that your negative feedback loop has become bigger than your positive feedback loop. And therefore, you're experiencing those emotions. So yeah, I mean, change, right? Don't be afflicted. Nobody wants to see anybody suffer, okay? Nobody does. I don't want to see myself suffer. I don't want to see my family suffer. I don't want to see anybody suffering, okay? Right? So, and I know you don't either. You don't want to see yourself suffering. You don't want to see your family suffering. You don't want to see people suffering. Okay? So if it's a signal that something is wrong, not wrong with you in your divine identity, but wrong with your current state, it's a signal that something needs to change, that you're actually made for a more harmonious life. As human beings, we are made to live harmoniously. We're designed to be in harmony. Like our biological, everything is wired to be set up to where we live the best when we're in harmony, when we're happy, right? When we're not experiencing those things. So if you're experiencing anxiety, it's a signal that you actually deserve a life that's harmonious. Okay? Or at least that you can have one. Maybe you don't deserve one because that's why you don't feel it. That's what the signal is. Okay? When I say deserve, I mean rightly deserve. Okay? You will be free from anxiety the moment that you rightly deserve to be free from it. Okay? How do you rightly deserve? You get in harmony with divine law. Okay? You get in harmony with the thing that is causing or that creates the solution. You get in harmony with that thing. That's the solution to solving anxiety. Okay, so to rightly deserve to live a life that is rightly ordered, that's free from anxiety, you have to change. Because here's the truth, okay? The truth is that even though you might, or that you have the capacity to live a life that's in harmony, and you were designed to live a life that's in harmony, and ultimately you do deserve it, right? Because you're a child of God and you deserve to have joy, you deserve to have peace, you deserve to have joy, but in your current state, you don't rightly deserve it. Okay? In other words, you're living out of harmony with divine law, and that lack of harmony is creating anxiety. Okay? And you're not a bad person for it, like I said, but you don't rightly deserve to be free from it until you change the things we talked about, until you change your self-image, until you change and simplify your life, until you learn how to work with it, how to flow with it. The laws of existence, they don't play any favorites, okay? They're impersonal. The laws behind reality are impersonal, okay? So even though you rightly, divinely deserve to be free from it, in this long-term sense, in your current state, you're out of harmony with those laws, and that lack of harmony creates anxiety, or creates fear, or creates doubt, or creates whatever it is, okay? It's a lack of harmony. So the word heaven actually means harmony. The root word for heaven means harmony. And your life is actually, what's really crazy, what's really cool, is your life is like you're able to make a heaven out of hell or a hell out of heaven. Okay? That's like in you to do that. And so if you want to make a heaven out of hell, which I'm assuming your anxiety feels like hell. So yeah, you guys, it's in your power to change. You're not afflicted forever. My camera battery is basically completely dead, so we got to call it a day. But I promise you, you've got this. You can overcome this. Trust God. Apply what I taught you today. Simplify your life. Focus your energies. Change your self-image and let it flow, okay? You got this, I promise you. I'd love to talk about it more. If you have questions, comment down below. I love and appreciate every single one of you guys. I look forward to seeing you in future videos. And as always, peace be unto you.